So
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and that's my kind of thing at the moment. I think
yeah,
giving back is the new cool. I think all this, hype on social media, sports
I,
players, music. I think the real cool is caring. I really do.
I'm with you on that one.
And I think we need to make more noise about carers. Whether you're, as I said, whether you're a therapist, a nurse, whatever it is, we are cool. We are actively helping save lives and reshape society. So I think there's a real cool in that, and I feel like that for me, I started young, and maybe people could say I was privileged. I didn't come from I didn't have financial stability. I just made it work, and
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. You are paid as a foster carer, so you do get support.
yeah,
Albeit, when I worked out, it was probably worked out to be about £3 an hour because it's
yeah,
24 hours a day. So it's not loads of money,
yeah,
but it was a sacrifice of my life, and it's
yeah.
shaped who I am. And it almost feels like I feel different to who I was then. I would feel like it shaped me in that time to be a different person today. So I'm a massive advocate. I think we should all look into it and consider caring, whether you're a foster carer.
And also, I think there's another message, which is a gender message as well, which is
Yeah,
about encouraging guys to think about this in particular. That
yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't
Because
think a lot of men would necessarily think, but there's a real need for men to move into this type of experience, I think.
Yeah, I think as well, because I think society's shifted now.
Yeah,
Opportunity is there for all genders now. To
yeah,
be who we want to be, and the opportunity to be a foster carer should present itself and normalize in terms of for the males as well, and young males as well. And I understand the opinions, or the stigma around, but it has to change. It has to
it
change,
does.
because we
It
are
does.
just as capable of caring
Yeah.
as anyone else.
And
And
also, I mean, I'd say from a psychological perspective, becoming a carer is the best choice you're ever going to make for your health and well-being. I mean,
yeah,
it
I
just
agree.
is.
Yeah,
Nurturing is like the core of health and well-being, without a doubt.
and I agree with that. I believe that's what we're here for. I
Yeah,
believe we are here to serve one another.
with
Um,
yeah,
and I believe, unfortunately, again, living in London, it's not cheap. So I understand the pressures, and I
yeah,
understand, but society, we have to change that. Like, and what's really interesting in certain careers, like you could be a personal trainer, right? And you're celebrated for helping save lives, right? You
yeah.
could be a surgeon, and you're celebrated for children. But as soon as you're a support worker or a nurse, the celebration's not the same. So
No, no,
we're
I
not
know.
respected as much. But we're doing it's early intervention.
Yeah.
We're saving lives, no different to a surgeon, no different to a personal trainer. So it should be considered a career pathway. It should be cool. And there should be opportunities to make a good living,
Yeah.
as well as, because the like you said, the caring element, it will always overweigh the
I
amount of
think
money.
society has to ask itself some serious questions, whether it wants to pay for it in the way you're describing, or it wants to pay for it by putting people in prison or a psych ward. Those are the options, because we're going to pay one way or the other.
Yeah,
Either we
absolutely.
do the early intervention and we create these reasonable career paths that are remunerated, or we just continue to build prisons. I mean, what that's where we are, and that's
Yeah.
the truth here. At what point did you think, right, okay, this fostering's good, but now I want to think about a much more sort of rounded service, because you now have some children's homes, I think you've
Yeah,
said.
yeah. So it was again, when I got into fostering, I realized, you learn about my first boy. He came from a residential children's home. So when I visited, I was like, oh, this is cool, because it felt like a youth club. It was a house. So then I started to be inquisitive. I started to look into it and stuff, and it was a combination of a few factors. I wanted a career. I wanted to help more children, and I wanted to see if we could use the fostering environment in a residential space. So it was like a challenge. It was like, okay, could we create a home away from home, but in
Yeah,
a residential space? Could I train staff to learn my model and learn my values? So it was a combination of a few things. And ultimately, in a residential space, you employ people, so you give people an opportunity to work and have a
Yeah.
career pathway. You have more young people, so you can support more young people. Whereas fostering, my boys stayed with me till they were 21. So
Right.
they stayed way beyond they were expected to. But I was
Yeah.
never going to let them go until they were ready to go. Whereas in the residential space, I know I can keep children and then, for a long period of time. And so yeah, it was a combination for you. I wanted a career, I wanted to help. I love the concept of employing people that care, training. It's not been easy. It's been really, really challenging, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. We're heavily regulated by Ofsted, which is rightfully so. But I've seen both sides. I've seen the fostering success, I've seen the residential success, and I truly believe the true success lies somewhere in between.
Yeah.
In between, do we need mass amounts of residential homes? No, but I do believe we need specialist homes because
Yeah,
some
yeah,
children,
there's no argument here. Absolutely, without a doubt. Some like some sort of I think we need a rainbow of services,
yeah,
because we're going to have a rainbow of kids with needs
that's
and adults
good
with
way of putting
needs.
it. Yeah,
With
yeah,
some people do need very strict institutional care, and some people need various gradings of that in between, all the way to independent living,
yeah.
and it's those options and choices that we need. So
Yeah,
we,
and that's the key word, is it choices? We want to make sure
yeah,
these children have choices because we have to intervene early and early. We can't afford to get it wrong. Because I always say to my staff, this is our job, this is their life.
yeah,
We can't afford to get our job wrong because it impacts their life and they will
yeah,
never
yeah.
forget it. So it's like,
And I would say, I don't know what you think about this, because I think there's like the it's not just the children's lives, but it's everybody's lives,
mm,
because those children are part of society, and if we get that wrong, we're putting something wrong into society, and
that's
that
that.
affects all of us, right?
You're preaching to the choir because I say that today's children are tomorrow's adults. So if
Yeah,
I want to get an Uber ride in 5 years' time, it could be that child in care. It could be that your
yeah.
child in a youth club. If I have to have surgery, if I want to go to,
There you go.
emergency, whatever it is,
There you go.
uh, if I want my children to go to a youth club, if I want my child, I don't know, to go to the GP and the receptionist there, like, so these children are the future of tomorrow, aren't they? They're tomorrow's
Without
adults.
that,
So it's
without,
like they
yeah.
have to be our focus.
If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.